Hey guys, so this is actually not what I was planning on doing. I was planning on recording and then uploading to my YouTube, but I pressed to go live and I'm not changing it now. We're just going to go with it because then it's on YouTube, and it's out there. So yeah, this wasn't originally how I was going to do things, but anyway, we'll just roll with it now. So, to start this video, those who haven't been here long, I am Beth. I'm from central England, literally central, and I am extremely passionate about missing people, and just want to find everyone and bring everyone home. I know I can't, but I want to. So my goal is just getting, getting some coverage out there, getting people's faces out there, and hopefully we grow a following and get people to share these people for us. So, today we are talking about James Duncan. He is a 26-year-old male. He is from Aberdeen, Scotland, and to start with, I have to clear something up. He is an extremely charitable person. Okay, he volunteers his time helping the homeless and vulnerable with. So far, I've found 3 agencies, voluntary organisations and such that he is a part of or has been a part of. So he's a really nice guy. He helps out the homeless and vulnerable, donates his time, volunteers his time to hand out things like coffee and tea, and things like that. So he went missing on the 18th/19th of October, 2022. It has now been 2 weeks since he went missing. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, the UK are not very forthcoming in general with the information that we put out there. So what I have got for you is extremely vague, but we're just going to elaborate on that and see what we can do with that. So he's got short, dark hair, dark eyes, and he may have a bigger beard than he does in the picture. The photo that you can see on the missing persons poster, which I can actually just make a little bigger. Sorry, pardon me. Right, this photo on the left, this is the last sighting of him in Aberdeen. This is what he was wearing. And I'm not going to lie, I don't get any, vibes from him from that photo. I don't think there's anything untoward. I just see a man that's walking. So we won't speculate about that. But what we will do is we're going to get into the timeline. Okay, so I've just put up the photo of him, the last sighting of him in the corner there. Right, so I can actually zoom out a little bit. I don't know if I need to zoom out a bit more than that, but hopefully not. Hopefully that'll just cut it. We'll just move that photo for now. So this area over here is this one is where he was from. This is where he was seen on CCTV last. And this is, I believe, where he lives. They haven't been very great at coming out and giving us much information. But so this area is where he lives. We come across this is the area where he's gone missing from. Okay, so it is quite a long, journey, really. So right, to start with them. So the timeline from the 18th and the 19th of October 2022 started over here in Aberdeen. Now we know that he was in Aberdeen city centre, which is this area here, between 12:15 p.m. till around 5 p.m. Okay. Now, again, it's not been released to us what he was doing in the city centre from those hours. It's not been released to us, whether he was in the city at 12:15 and he stayed in the city till 5 p.m. Or whether he, came into the city, was seen at 12:15 in the city and then went home or something and then came back into the city for 5 p.m. We are not clear on this. All we know is that it was in the city centre between those times. We also don't know which area he lives in, so anywhere in Aberdeen, which is fairly big, he could have been anywhere, okay? But then the next part of what we do know is that he was seen boarding a bus. It was the 201 bus service. He was seen boarding the 201 bus service to Ballater, which is obviously inland, like I showed you. So we know that he caught the bus, I presume, from the bus station. It seems a fairly, reasonable assumption to assume that he caught the bus from the bus station. So this photo that I've got up on the screen, this is the bus station. There's not much really to say about that. It is just a bus station. So he was seen boarding the 201 bus from the bus station at 5:05 p.m. Okay, we know that much. So he was seen boarding a bus here at 5:05 p.m. And we know then that he got off that bus. Oh, it's quite a distance. Sorry. He got off that bus over here in Ballater around 7 p.m. Okay. So it took almost 2 hours for him to get from Aberdeen to Ballater. And then he gets off at Ballater at 7 p.m. And we don't know where he went or what he did. But what we can be sure of is then he wasn't seen until 1:20 a.m. on the 19th of October. So 1:20 a.m. on the 19th of October, so the following day, 6 hours later, he was seen in the Bridge Street area of the town. Walking. Okay, so we don't know what direction he was going. We have not been given that information. I have asked the Scottish police to release that information? What direction was he seen walking in, or was he seen sitting down somewhere? You know, what was he doing? So it was seen in this area where my cursor is here. This is Albridge Street. Okay. It then turns into Braemar Road. I think if I'm saying these places wrong, I'm sorry. I'm not Scottish. But Bridge Street, I believe, goes from here, and I believe although it turns into a B road here, I believe that Bridge Street would just be classed as going up to this junction. So we know that he was seen in this area somewhere along this street at 1:20 a.m. Okay, that much has been cleared up, and that is the last sighting of him. After that, he has not been seen. We're now 2 weeks later. He still, hasn't been seen. The police haven't released if they've had a phone ping anywhere. We have no idea of that information. Basically, all we know is that he was in Ballater at 1:20 a.m. Then he's gone missing. No one's seen him. No one's heard from him. He's not contacted anybody. We don't know if his bank account's been touched. We have no idea of any of this because, again, this information has not been released to us, the public. So I have been doing some research. I haven't managed to get in touch with anyone. If I do manage to get in touch with anyone and I manage to get some more information, I will be doing another video and clearing these things up. But for the time being, I've not heard anything from anybody. So we're just working purely on what we've got, which is very little. But we're going to try and elaborate on a couple of these things and see if there's anything that we can, maybe look into. Okay. So, basically, what first of all, my first thought process, and I want to rule this out because I do not believe that, 1 second, guys, sorry. I just wanted to clear some things up because, I don't believe it's this. I don't know if my stream messed up for a second there, so I'm going to start saying what I was saying again. I have zero knowledge of this happening, and I also don't want to throw speculation out there that's wrong. We're just clearing things up, okay? Ruling things out, clearing things up, that sort of thing. So first of all, I want to just point out, I don't believe that this is a case of foul play. I really don't. There's no signs of foul play. We're talking, Ballater is a very small area. Okay, this is not a city. It's not even a town. It is a village, an old Victorian village. There's not many people that live there. It's nestled in, the middle of lots of mountains and things like that. So that's what we do know. So this here, this really small area, is Ballater. Okay. The River Dee kind of like runs around the outskirts of it. It's surrounded by a lot of wooded areas, and then outside of the wooded areas, we go to mountains and, you know, peaks and hills and all that sort of wonderful stuff. So I just want to say I don't believe it's foul play. The only thing that made me think, it could be a possibility is there is a lot of these little hotels and B&Bs and things like that dotted about where, you don't know who's coming in and out of this little village. And if someone coming in and out of this village has got bad intentions, and seeing someone at 1:20 a.m. in a little sleepy village brings the possibility. I do not think it is that. I don't. I think, that I do think this is something else, which I'm going to get into. There's no signs of foul play. There's no signs of anything. Nothing has been found. No belongings of his have been found. So we just have to, kind of deal with what we've got. So I'm not going to touch too much on that because I just don't believe that. The other thing that I could think of was, could this be some form of accident? Or, hiking gone wrong, or maybe not even hiking gone wrong, but maybe it was a complete mistake, I have to address something now. And I do have to zoom out for this, so 1 second, guys. I'll just zoom out. How much am I going to have to zoom out? Bit more. Right, so this again is a long shot, but not impossible either. So his mum lives in Thailand, which is here, okay? Again, I am aware this is a fair distance from Ballater. But from what I've seen, he looks close to his mum. And spent a lot of time with his mum. So his mum lives here, I believe. Or she has lived here, but I believe she currently lives here. According to her Facebook, this is where she lives. So we're just going to go with that. The bus comes in on this road here, past Des and Aberdeen, and then Dinnet and Cambus O'May, and then, yeah. So you get my drift. The bus comes in from Aberdeen on this road. Now my thought was, what if the bus comes in on this road here, and he was meant to get off the bus at either Des or Aberdeen and walk up one of these routes here to his mum's house, okay? Now, my thought process with that would be, what if he has fallen asleep on the bus, or has been, listening to music or watching something on his phone, because it's a long bus journey, nearly 2 hours. And maybe he was going to his mum's for the evening or something like that. Or, we don't know. Missed his stop. So this, in the night, bearing in mind, yes, it was only 7 p.m. when he got off the bus here. But where I live, it's currently getting dark at around 5 p.m. So it would have been dark when he got off the bus at Ballater at 7 p.m. 100%. Maybe he wasn't then comfortable getting off at some random stop along this road. So maybe he waited until the next little village, which was Ballater, with the intention of heading back this way, thinking that it was possible he'd have to walk to his mum's. Take into consideration, we are in the middle of nowhere here. Like, there is nothing but mountains. Phone signal most likely is horrific in this area, if you get signal at all. So, maybe it was something along those lines, and he was trying to head back to his mum's house, and he's had an accident, it would have been dark. But then we can also say that he was definitely in this area at 1:20 a.m. So we know that he hasn't got off the bus and tried to straight walk back. He's been around here, well, I believe, since 7 p.m. We also know he has no known family or friends in this area. None. Okay? In the area of Ballater, nobody has come out and said, he was coming to visit me. Nobody said a word. His family, no one is aware that he knew anyone in Ballater at that time. So that begs the question, what was he doing in Ballater, unless it was a complete mistake? I don't believe it is a full mistake. I do believe he was meant to get on that bus, and I do believe there was an intention of getting on that bus. I'm not convinced that he was supposed to end up in Ballater. I'm not. But he was a really, really charitable guy. And there is in Ballater a hostel somewhere. I did see this somewhere when I was walking up and down on Google Maps. So on Google Maps, I'm sure it was somewhere around here. I saw there was a sign somewhere. It said something about a hostel. So, was there a purpose to be in this area? I believe this is it. This is it. Look, there we go. So Ballater Hostel here, and it's signposted down there. Bearing in mind, right now we are stood on Bridge Street, so we don't know which part of the town he was seen in. But what we do know is down this little side street, it says there, Ballater Hostel. So, maybe there was some other reason for him being there. I'm not sure. We have nothing to go on. Another thought process that I had was he was seen on this street somewhere at 1:20 a.m. Now, there is, if you look here, the bus depot, where all the buses go on a night and go to bed. Now, was it a mistake, and was he intending on waiting around for the morning bus to come through, pick him up? Did he think, what, I've got about 6 hours to wait, so I'm going to set off walking until the buses do start running, and then I'll hop on a bus back to Aberdeen or wherever. Or another possibility is, was everything else asleep? Everyone's asleep, all the shops are shut, all that sort of thing. It says here this Riverside Garage, which is also on the same road that the bus comes in on. Now it says here, open 24 hours. Has he thought, I'm going to hang around here, or I'm going to, just stick around in his garage, I'm going to go buy a drink, or I'm going to do something. Because we don't know where he had tea, or where he ate, or anything like that. So, we literally have got nothing to go on. But all these are possibilities. These are all, we're just trying to look into a 26-year-old male who appears to have just disappeared. Literally no sign of him. We don't know what direction he was walking in from here, but I also want to go into that. So, what we can go into is, if he was walking in this direction on the road he came in on, I would go to say that he was heading back towards like his mum's and Aberdeen. Now that is a ridiculous walk or journey to make on foot. So I don't think he had intentions of doing the whole journey on foot, but that way would have led him back to his mum's, and somewhat back towards Aberdeen, or in the direction of. Now, if he had headed Bridge Street this way, now, this is where, if we look, there's nothing apart from mountains. There's a couple of hotels along the road. Balmoral Castle, where Queen Elizabeth II died. Then it goes up into the mountains. Yeah, I'm not convinced on that idea. I don't think that's where he was headed. We're also not sure. Until it gets released, we won't be positive. But I will be shocked if he's left in that direction, because that direction is. If I can just do this, okay, right now. Imagine this at 1:20 a.m. or call it 2 a.m. by the time he reaches this by foot. This at 2 a.m. is not going to be pleasant. You're not going to be able to see anything. So I don't think for a second this is the road he set it out on. So that's that. One thing I can say, he can't get out of Ballater south because he would have to cross this river, which, as shallow as it may be, I don't think that's the case. But he could have, I suppose, come to this junction and walked out this way. But if we come out this way, if you just look, it's just, there's nowhere to go. There isn't a destination. So again, I don't believe it was that way. The other thing, which again could lead us back to the accident or the hiking gone wrong type thing, is if we go here on the map and we load it up. So, like I said earlier, this would still be classed as Bridge Street. I know it's a B road, but it would still be classed as Bridge Street, I presume, up until this junction. Okay. Now, there's a road going each way. However, if we just zoom into this, if we look, this is a hiking trail, which again could be a possibility. Not too sure if hiking is a possibility at around 1:20 a.m. I personally wouldn't do it, but we don't know what situation James was in. So he always, we have to consider it a possibility. So anyway, it says there, bridge of, I believe that's Mewick, or something along those lines, or Canvas of May. So if we then come out of this view, because that is a hiking trail up through these trees, there is some form of hiking trail. If we zoom out, apart from, at the very top of this wooded area, there is a mountain peak of some form. This is Canvas of May suspension bridge. So maybe he was heading back to the road and he's come through all the woods and he's come to this suspension bridge, which ultimately leads him right back to the road that he came in to town on the bus. Was he trying to cut through, waste some time to get the bus back in the morning? Who knows? Was he looking for somewhere? Had he booked any hotels? These are all things that we do need answering, just to give us the best chance at finding him. So that's another way to look at things. And then the other way to look at this would be, is there history of any mental health? Does he have mental health issues? Does he suffer from depression? Has he suffered from depression in the past? Is there a family history of depression or anything like that? It's an awful thing to think about, and for anyone who may see this, and if any family member or friend sees this, I'm not being derogatory, but we have to consider, could this be him? I don't know him personally. I don't know if it's something he would do. But then at the same time, there's a lot of people that would sit there and say, we don't really know if someone would do it. There's people that have committed suicide that I didn't think would. So it is something we have to look at. It is something that we have to question. Now, my thoughts would be that in an area like that, if you wanted to do something like that, this probably would be the perfect place. It is so vast. It's a possibility. But I don't know. It's something that does confuse me. I'm not sure what to think about this. I really don't. Just something else I want to look at real quick is this river. Now, if we actually take a look at this river, it is extremely shallow. You can see the rocks on the bottom. And these lighter parts, these are like the riverbed showing up through the bottom. So it's extremely, the River Dee is shallow coming through Ballater. So I don't believe the river is a possibility either. Now, from this point, if you just have a look at this, look at the hills on either side, okay? Now we're going to do a complete 360 turn, okay? And you will see what I see. If you look at the background and the landscape surrounding Ballater, this is literally just some sleepy little village, completely surrounded by mountains and peaks and just a really hilly landscape. Like, that's where that hiking trail goes up. Now, I mean, just look at the sheer size. Like, that hiking trail goes up into all them trees. We are just talking, no matter where you look from Ballater, you are just looking at mountains and peaks and hills. And, I mean, it gives me the heebie-jeebies, honestly. Now, if I just do this, and I'll see if I can pull it up. This was on the 23rd of the 10th, 9 days ago, 10 days ago. Do you see what I mean? Like, people aren't posting half as much as they should about him 10 days ago, 9 days ago, 11 days ago. And even then, that is literally, because then we start going into, there's some other 9 days. So, if we go on, what's the most recent? I said 9 days ago. So let's just take a look at what this says. Scots urged to check sheds for missing man who vanished after getting on bus 5 days ago. Police searching for a man who vanished after getting on a bus to Ballater last week have asked residents to check their sheds and outbuildings in case he sought shelter. James Duncan disappeared after travelling on the 201 service from Aberdeen city centre, which departed at around 5:05 p.m. on Tuesday, October the 18th. The 26-year-old got off the bus in the village at around 7 p.m. before being spotted again at 1:20 a.m. the following morning on Bridge Street. No further confirmed sightings have taken place since, with police growing increasingly concerned for his well-being. James is described as being around 6 foot tall with short black hair with brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a dark outdoor hooded jacket, light blue jeans and black shoes. Sergeant Jane Forsyth said, "We are becoming increasingly concerned for James and urging anyone who may have seen him or knows where he is to get in touch. In particular, we are asking people in and around Ballater to check their gardens, sheds and outbuildings in case James has sought shelter. Anyone with dashcam or doorbell footage that could help with our inquiries to trace James is also asked to make contact with officers. Anyone who can help is asked to call Police Scotland on 101, quoting reference number 3558 of Friday the 21st of October 2022. So, that just, for me, that just goes to show. So I'm just going to put that up there while I finish what I'm saying. So I think we've covered that, the theories that we can go into are basically that, he has got on a bus, despite the reasons or what any of us can pinpoint. He's got on a bus, he's then got off in a really small village. He hasn't been seen for 6 hours. And he doesn't know anyone in this village, and then he reappears at 1:20 a.m. and then just appears to have vanished. He has not been seen since. I'm going to keep updated with this. I mean, I've only just picked this up and I've only just seen it. There's not much coverage on him at all. It's not being widespread or anything like that, and I believe it should be. He is just as important as anyone else. So, I think that more needs to be done in this country, getting, his face out there, his name out there, getting him some more coverage, definitely. Any updates, I am going to post them, just to let you guys know and keep you updated. I will try and find out as much as I can so we can get as much information as possible out there. But we cannot just let this one rest. This is someone's son. Someone is missing him. I mean, I know his mum just wants him home. I believe he will have a dad or brothers or sisters or friends, cousins, aunties, uncles. He will have family and friends who are missing him a lot. And, I feel awful that I saw this by fluke. I didn't mean to stumble across this. I had an idea for my YouTube channel, and I just went digging to see if I could, do something for my YouTube channel, and his face popped up. And I just thought, he's a similar age to me. He's a little younger, but he's a similar age to me. And yet, there's barely any coverage. It's the first time I've heard about it. It's 2 weeks, and I hear about American cases quicker than I do our own. So I decided that I was going to cover this and try and get him some coverage and some airtime. And I guess all we can do is push to get him out there. So thank you for watching, guys. If there's any updates or anything, I'll come back on and let everyone know. And